We don't have to have the same goal. Her goal can be to be a foodie, and my goal can be to live a healthy, long life. And even still, that doesn't guarantee I'm going to actually do that. And she could actually live a healthier and happier life than me.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome to episode 159 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. Lillie Kane is a meat-based certified health and nutrition life coach, certified keto nutrition health coach, and a YouTuber with a massive audience. You're an inspiration to us here at Skullbellz TV, sisters. I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. Lillie is passionate about helping people live their healthiest and happiest. Solomon wrote in Proverbs 18:21, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Lillie is an example of this because of her content on her Reels, her YouTube channel, and her overall brand is set on positivity and proper nutrition. We are honored for her generous time here on our show to dive deeper into these topics. Lillie can be found on Instagram at Lillie_Kane_, and her link tree will direct you to her YouTube channel, coaching information, and much more. Lillie, welcome to the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast.
Thank you for having me. I love the intro. I'm excited to chat.
Good. So what inspired you to adopt a primal way of eating?
Great question. So I grew up in San Diego, California, and my mom was a single parent, and she was also an alcoholic. So she tried her very best, but unfortunately she had a really hard time with her addiction to keep a job. So we were really low income. And I grew up on food stamps, grocery shopping at the 99-cent store, eating lots of top ramen, macaroni and cheese boxes, peanut butter jellies, and just what was kind of affordable and cheap, and didn't really learn anything about health and nutrition. I'm also smaller in stature. I'm about 5'2" tall. My jaw, I think, was pretty underdeveloped. I had not only braces, but then rubber bands, headgears, retainers to open my mouth up. I wore a neck brace. It was a whole scene back then. But I ended up going to college and gaining 15 pounds my freshman year because I finally had access to the all-you-can-eat buffet. And I was actually really happy about this because when I grew up, I was teased for being anorexic, toothpick legs, flat-chested, too skinny. And so when I went to college and I gained 15 pounds, I was like, yes, now maybe a man will love me. Because with my childhood growing up, I just didn't really have a mom or dad, and I was always seeking for love, even though fast forward, I learned to love myself. But ended up being in college and just eating everything and anything because I was also a track and field collegiate athlete. So I was running all 4 years. And so I was kind of able to get away with eating some of these things in terms of at least how I looked on my weight, but not in terms of I was skipping a menstrual cycle. I was having yeast infections, UTIs, lots of acne, depression, anxiety, mood swings, low energy, needing to take a nap. So even though I was skinny, I was still having different things going on with my health that I thought at the time were just normal things I would have to live with forever, like joint pain. I was a runner. So I said, oh, of course I'm going to have knee surgery one day. That's just what happens. My knees are going to ache in pain and I'm going to have crutches because I'm in so much pain walking. But I ended up graduating from college and moving to Maui because growing up in a sunny area my whole life to going to college in Minnesota, I was done with the snow and the cold. So I didn't want to go back to California and move to Hawaii. And that's where I ended up meeting my now husband. And he's 9 years older than me. So at the time when I met him, he was already educated and had already done the all fruit fruitarian diet, the vegetarian diet, paleo, Mediterranean, keto. And so when I met him, I was eating my pizza, donuts, alcohol diet. And when you first meet somebody, you don't want to tell them, oh, Lillie, you shouldn't eat those things. And I myself, I don't eat chips. I don't have dessert. I don't have alcohol. I don't have all these things that quote, quote, normal people have. So he kind of went along with it and let me sneak in some of these not so great things, even though he knew when I was taking Oreos, covering them in funfetti cake batter, frying them in a pot of boiling canola oil, and then frosting them with frosting and sprinkling them with sprinkles. He knew that that was pretty much the worst thing I could ever put in my body, but he
That's probably about as bad.
So slowly by being around him, I actually was very inspired that he didn't need to have dessert to be happy. So while I was fist deep in a bowl of cookie dough, he was just fine not having any of the dessert. Started asking more questions and asked like why he doesn't eat certain foods or how he got to where he is. And but at the same time, I was kind of ruining his health because I would still sneak in a pizza night or a Taco Tuesday. And so one day I came home from work and he just looked like he had seen a ghost. He was shocked. His skin was red, flaky, irritated, inflamed. He was having a ton of gut issues and a lot of digestion things going on in the bathroom he didn't want to tell me about at the time. And he said, Lillie, I have to go back to eating a keto diet because he had done plant-based for so many years, ended up causing himself lots of gut issues and skin issues. And then diet, and that helped with his gut and skin. But then when I came into the picture, he stopped doing keto. So once it got bad enough again, he's like, I got to go back to keto to help with my gut. So that's kind of how it all started.
So he kind of led by example, and then you kind of followed him. Then is what it sounds like.
Right. So he basically never said, Lillie, you have to eat like meat. You shouldn't eat those things. It was just when we would go grocery shopping and I would put certain foods into the cart, he would take them out of the cart, turn them over, read the ingredients and go, ooh, yeah, that one's for you. And I'd be like, well, what's wrong with it? Tell me what in canola oil, soybean. And so, and he looked really great for his age. He's 36. So I was like, dang, like if this guy's healthy eating certain things, let me ask more questions and figure out why he is able to have lots of energy and be physically very active and lift very heavy and have a good health for his age. And so I just kept asking more questions. Well, what's a lectin? Well, what's an oxalate? And when he started going more ketogenic, because we grocery shop and cook together and clean together, slowly I started doing the same thing as him and just eating the same meals. And then he was finding that some of the veggies were still causing him gut issues. He was like, I think the broccoli is not sitting well with me. I think the asparagus is still causing me issues. So he slowly started removing the veggies. I have no problem digesting veggies. I don't have an autoimmune condition related to them. But when he's eating more bacon and I'm eating cauliflower, I'm like, well, what the heck is this? So I slowly just started having less veggies and just eating more meat because it's tasty, yummy, and makes me feel good.
Oh yeah, I definitely have to say I'm with you on the bacon versus cauliflower. I would definitely pick bacon over cauliflower. I don't know who would. So is your diet like 95% meat based with some plants here and there? What does that look like?
So I am very fortunate that I luckily don't have an autoimmune condition or mental health issues or binge eating experiences. So for myself, I could eat a donut today and not have the desire to want to have one tomorrow. And it wouldn't really cause me, tomorrow I'm not going to be in a lot of pain. So
having withdrawal symptoms.
Right. So not that I'm eating processed foods or anything like that, but I eat a ton of meat. And then if I'm just getting bored of the monotony or I want to have something different, I want to have some more flav, I can have a veggie. I usually opt for fruit before I have the veggies, but I like potatoes or grilled onions. So there's a few vegetables I like, but I would say 95% of what I eat is meat. And then the next section would be fruit and then a vegetable randomly.
Wow, that's amazing. How did you troubleshoot which vegetables work for you and which ones don't, or just plants in general for that reason? Like, do all fruits work for you, or do you have some that digest better than others?
For the most part, I would say I am very lucky. My stomach is a machine. You could give me anything right now and I'll turn it into a beautiful bowel movement. So he and I will eat very much the same exact meal. And then I'll have things happen first. And I'm like, okay, just so you know, honey, this is what's going to happen to you when you go to the bathroom in 5 hours, because I'm just going to be able to turning it over quickly. So
that's so romantic.
Right? So yeah, I seem to do well with pretty much all plants as far as I am aware of. I mean, unless I don't have them for a long time, then if I have something like an avocado, then I may have more of a rash just because my body's not used to having it. So if I continually were to eat it, then it would not be an issue, but I usually don't have certain things all the time. So usually when I have a plant for the first time, it's going to cause me a little bit of just not feeling the best, but I know if I were to just give it more time, it'd be fine.
Okay. So the more frequently you consume a particular food, the better you tolerate it. And then if it's something you haven't had in a while, your body's kind of like, whoa, what's that?
Right.
That's the impression. Okay, right
That's
on.
similarly like to people eating like, processed food right now. They don't realize like pizza's like causing them an issue because they're eating pretzels and beer and cheese. Oh, I mean, not cheese, but like they're eating foods where it's like all mixed together. They can't tell what's causing what. So they're just in a constant state of like not feeling the best. But then like, when I don't eat anything and then when I have one thing, then I'm going to be able to notice what it is. So like, for
Yeah.
instance, I just got strawberries the other day. I didn't notice any issues with the strawberries, but my husband, he's more sensitive. So he was like, man, I feel like my toe is feeling like a gout-like symptom. So it just,
Huh.
yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. How many meals a day are you eating? Are you one meal a day, two or three?
Closer to 5. So
Oh, wow.
they're very small meals though, because I did do intermittent fasting and I did do 2 meals a day for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I ended up, after like years of doing intermittent fasting, I just found I couldn't get in enough food without feeling disgustingly full all the time.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, you're so lean.
right. So it's really hard for me to like if and I'm a small person too. So if I sit down, I know like people like Sean Baker, he can sit down and house like 4 steaks. I can't do that. I will just be in so much pain digesting. So I have slowly over the years incorporated more and more meals where they're very small. So it's like I have a cup of milk at 6:30 and then a cup of milk at 9:30, and then I'll have 10 ounces of meat and then some more meat and then some yogurt and fruit.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I'm more one or two meals a day. And so the first mistake I made as an online coach several years ago was having most of my gals, like even that were your age and weight, eating 2 or 3 meals a day, packing away quite a bit of food, and figured out pretty quickly that especially if they wanted to build muscle, spreading it all throughout the day was definitely a lot better. Do you train fasted, or do you have a meal before you train?
I trained fasted for years, and then just something hit me probably 3, 4 months ago where I just, for no reason, wasn't doing anything different with my training. I threw up and I just felt so tired. And for like a week, I just felt so fatigued while at the gym. So I think that at least from my experience and what I've kind of learned is that we might find something that's working really well with us. Like doing 2 meals in a day might be rock solid. We love what we're doing. And then things just shift in our body and it changes. And so just keeping an open mind to always evolving and adapting to that. So when I wasn't feeling as well, then I was like, well, I probably should give myself some fuel before I go and work out. So I started doing that and I've been feeling much better.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's funny. I got some people are all about training fasted, and some people are like have to have food in their stomach, otherwise they get nauseous. And
Yep.
I'm team fasted, so this is fun. This is really interesting. Cool. Do you coach your clients to eat intuitively or follow a precise meal plan with like specific and protein and fat requirements?
I would say I preach eat intuitively, but then when that happens, I just find more often than not, like people have been eating poor quality diets for a really long time. Some people decades and 40 years of their life, they've been eating the wrong kinds of things, that their
Yeah,
health signals and satiety and the way that their hormones are, it's hard for them to eat
and
intuitively.
especially if there's like some emotional baggage from like an eating disorder or something.
Right. So I love the advice eat intuitively because I don't think humans are natural born calorie calculators. I don't think humans were like, all right, it's 10 a.m. I have to eat right now and it's got to be 10 ounces of beef.
Yeah.
But I do find it is people tend to naturally undereat and undereat significantly because the foods are just so protein heavy, nutrient dense, and satiating that when people tend to naturally undereat, which I think it's fine for people to not eat a lot for a certain period of time, but then eventually it can, in the long run, can cause thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, hair loss, weight loss stalls, low metabolism. So I just don't see long-term undereating as a benefit. So I do say, okay, we can eat intuitively, but if you're going to eat intuitively very low in the amount of food you're eating, then I'm going to kind of do some more guidance and say, okay, we at least need to hit this much protein and we can have some wiggle room with the other things. But I definitely think protein is very, very important. So I want to make sure we're getting enough protein.
Yeah, I love your strategy on that. That's kind of the same way I do it too. It's so hard to teach intuitive eating, especially if it's. I'm assuming most of your clients are online. All of my clients are online, and so so there's a lot of communication about okay, why describe to me what kind of hunger you're feeling. Do you just feel fatigued? Do you feel like like your body is like starving for more food? Are you having a hard time recovering? But sticking with a set protein number and then using fat is kind of a variable depending on their energy expenditure and using their own satiety signals to gauge how much fat that they should have in addition to the protein is kind of the middle of the road that I'm at with most of the people that we're training right now.
Perfect. Yes, I agree.
Do you believe in using cardio to achieve body composition goals, or do you focus on diet and lifestyle like non-exercise activity thermogenesis alone?
I guess it depends on what someone's goal is. Someone's goal is weight loss, then this is a tough question because I think that weight loss, the most important thing is sustainability. So if I tell you the healthiest thing for you to do is eat beef and liver, but you absolutely hate liver, then that's not going to last for very long because people have a hard time doing things that they hate. So
yeah, and you can ship it to my house if you don't want the liver.
Or if things are too complicated, right? I say you have to have all these seasonings and ingredients and go to the grocery store. And now you've got to make beans and soak and sprout them and ferment them. And it's going to take 3 hours. People aren't going to do things that are complicated, take a lot of time, take a lot of money, and that taste nasty and that they hate. So in terms of weight loss goes, I think sustainability is the best thing. I don't tell people to eat a carnivore diet, a keto diet, an animal-based diet. I say, we're going to find the Lillie diet. We're going to find the Sam diet. We're going to find the John diet, because if it's not going to work with your work life schedule, holidays, travel, your social life, you're just like how your whole day goes, then you're not going to be able to keep it up. So if someone's trying to lose weight, if you can do what I say for 30 days, but then you're going to go back to your eating habits, then it doesn't really matter because you're not going to keep the weight loss off. So I think there's a stat out there that 6 out of 7 people who start a diet lose weight, but over 80% of them regain the weight within 3 years. Over 80%. That's almost everybody.
Yeah.
So
because any online coach can just say, hey, all you have to do is eat less and move more, and that'll get you to where you want to be. Okay, great. And then after 6 months, what? Now you have all these thyroid issues, you shot in your metabolism, you probably have an eating disorder, and you're going to gain all that weight right back.
Exactly. So I as far as your answer to cardio, I personally don't do cardio, so it's hard for me to tell someone you got to do cardio because I don't do it. But as far as movement goes, I don't think people have to move to lose weight. You can absolutely just change diet alone and be able to lose weight. But I want to promote being if the goal of I think people's goal behind weight loss should be because they want to be healthy, not that they want to look hot. Because our looks are there's always gonna be something we want to change about how we look, whether, okay, I lost the weight, but now I want to change my nose and need to change my hair. People are always going to find things to not love about themselves. So I try, I don't think the idea behind losing weight for looks is going to be sustainable long-term, because we're inevitably going to get older. And we're inevitably not going to look as fantastic as we do when we're younger. So I don't think the goal of losing weight for looks is going to keep someone doing it forever. And I don't think they're doing it out of love, versus if you're losing weight because you love yourself so much, you want to do the right thing for your health. So that way you can be there for your grandkids, or so you can travel the world, or so you can, whatever your reason is for why you want to be healthy. Then if your goal is to be healthy, then I want you to move, because movement is part of being healthy. So it's not that you have to move to lose weight. It's that moving and having exercise is good for your brain. It's good for your heart. It's good for digestion, for lowering stress. It's good for sleep. It's good for hormones. It's good for so many things that to argue oh, you don't have to work out. I'm not going to say that. People say I'm not going to work out. Fine. We're going to do how you want to do it. But I definitely promote getting movement because it's just so good for your overall well-being and health. And if your goal is health, then let's start creating that habit, because it is so wonderful.
Wow. I think I really have just figured out now why you're such a sought after coach. I mean, that is absolutely incredible advice. That is such a different mindset around that than, okay, I'm going to go do this white knuckle cardio right now. I really don't want to do it, but I ate too much food and I'm too fat, and that all needs to change. And whether that's actually verbalized, probably not. Hopefully nobody actually says that, but that's what a lot of us are thinking when we do cardio. And that's just the complete wrong reason to do it. Through our diet and our lifestyle alone, we should be able to achieve a decent physique, not an IFBB pro physique, but you should be able to look good, and you should be healthy off of just that alone. Thank you for that. You travel a lot and never seem to miss a meal. How do you stay carnivore when you travel?
I definitely, in airports, I will bring food with me. So I just don't, I'm sure I can order at the airport food, but I've done it so many times at this point that I'll just make beef before, or ground chicken, ground lamb, ground beef, any kind of ground meat the night before I leave, put it in my fridge, and then it'll be good for a few hours. So once I get to the airport and I go through my gate, or if I want to eat it on the airplane, as long as I eat it within like 4-ish hours without an, I don't have an ice pack and a cooler with me. So then I'll just have the meat while I'm traveling, or I'll take sardines, hard-boiled eggs. I've brought a whole stick of butter before through TSA. So people have this idea that you're not allowed to bring food. I've brought food every time I've traveled since even when I was like 5 years old. So, and then when we are like out and about, like actually at our destination, we know it costs more money to get a Airbnb to have a kitchen, but it costs more money per night to stay at an Airbnb, whereas versus staying in a hotel. But if I stay in a hotel, now I have to go out to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when I go out to eat, they give you such small little portion sizes because it comes with potatoes and with the vegetables and with the bread and all that stuff, that the meat portion is so tiny that we have to order 2-3 entrees to fill us up. So
it's a joke.
Yeah, it's so expensive to go out to eat. So we will spend, instead of spending the money to go out to eat, we'll put the money towards our stay to be able to afford a kitchen. And then we'll just cook our meals for the most part. If we go out to eat, we will just order meat too. But, and I also try to be more flexible when I'm traveling as well. I'm not going to be opposed, for my personal health, I'm not going to be opposed to having some veggies or having some fruit or something, just because I'm not going to have severe negative reactions. Whereas someone like maybe Michaela Peterson, if she had a little bit of something else, she may have more arthritic pain and joint pain and have mental health issues come back, or other repercussions from just the small excess things that aren't from meat. So for myself, I try to give a little bit more flexibility, because otherwise the stress of trying to be perfect is actually more damaging to my health than a little bit of something else.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If you miss a meal, it's not the end of the world. It's easier to do if you're low carb too, because then you're fat adapted, and so it's different than having 5 meals that have carbs, where you're basically out of energy and then super hungry, out of energy, super hungry. So you do that so much better than I do too. I just throw a keto brick in my backpack and I'm good.
That works. We did that. We've done that before.
Yeah. We stayed in Spokane on the way here to Joliet when we were moving, and so my wife and her mom were taking one moving truck, and my mom and I were in the other moving truck, and we stayed at a hotel, and I just had a bunch of frozen burger patties. So typically I like to freeze my meals before going on a long trip, and then like by the time I eat them, usually it's like perfect timing. But yeah, but I'm with you on the Airbnbs and on the hotels. That's really good advice, because when we stayed at the hotel, they had places that they had a stovetop but no pans, and the pans are $10. I'm like, are you kidding me? Ross Dress for Less is across the street, and they have pans for like $2 over there. It's just more work than paying the extra money and getting an Airbnb.
Yeah, or even we've stayed at hotels before where they had like a microwave, and so we went to like Walmart or something and bought burger patties, and then they didn't have any silverware at our hotel. So I remember they had cups, because they have like for coffee or whatever. So we had the cups, and we put the burger patty on top of the cup, and it's like in the microwave spinning like that. And we're like, gosh, this is what our life came to. But that was just like a one-off. So we kind of learned from certain experiences that just ended up being more complicated and not as necessary, when we could just spend pretty much the same amount of money to make our lives a little bit easier.
Right.
Our health is priceless.
Yeah, it 100% is. And this is, have you found this diet to be particularly affordable? I mean, I think it's dirt cheap. I'm eating beef, butter, and keto bricks. That's it. I mean, it's not very expensive.
Yeah, I think the thing is, when I buy it, like
vegetables are expensive. That's what runs your bill up.
Right. Like I said, I just bought strawberries, and it's like they were sour. And they were expensive. I'm like, God, like anytime we buy fruit, we have to be so particularly looking, because it has like white mold, or it has like on the banana tops, it'll have like black mold, or you open your banana up, it has black on the inside. So I don't think people are aware when they look at their fruit as much, because I didn't pay as close of attention as I do now. We're like, I was eating moldy fruit this whole time. So yeah, it is more expensive, because like I could get more nutrients out of having meat versus having the fruits and veggies. But I sometimes, to me, I'm like, okay, well, I want to have some new flavors, so I don't have those things. But for the most part, it is more expensive for me to have those things. But even still, things like top ramen or macaroni and cheese that I grew up having, those things are like $1. So those things are cheap, But then they're not going to help you with your sleep and your mood and your energy and your skin health and your digestion, all the things that go into it that cost more money in the end. And then if you have to call off of work because you're getting sick 3-4 times a year like I was, now I'm not making money because I'm not going to go to work, or I have to call out of school, so I'm not getting as educated because I'm being handicapped by the food that I'm eating.
Yeah, I love how big picture you make everything. Because you got to factor everything. You're right. It's like, okay, is it expensive to eat to eat meat all the time? Yeah, I mean, meat's not the cheapest thing ever, and especially if you're eating steaks, right? I have one client that eats ribeye every single day. That's the only thing that she eats is ribeye. She orders her name is Wendy. She orders 32 ribeyes a month. And yeah, I'm on ground beef. Maybe we'll get there someday. but when you factor in everything, it's like, yeah, if you're more productive at work, if you're spending less time eating, it's like look at all these other factors that play into your overall quality of life and productivity as a human being. I think that's one of the biggest things I respect about you too, is just that you not only have the diet nailed down to a point to a way that's very original and very authentic and that very much works for you and that you can teach, but you're just a badass on all cylinders. I mean, your Instagram following, your podcast, your YouTube channel, everything, and your diet is kind of the foundation of all of it, isn't it? Like you probably wouldn't be able to do all that if you were just eating a standard American diet.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be feeling as good. I remember it was always like, oh, I need to take a nap. I need to take a nap. I'm tired. And then, yeah, your brain just doesn't work as well. That's just like, it ends up happening that way.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I like intermittent fasting too, and 2 meals a day is just towards the end of the fast, I feel particularly sharp, and that's usually where a lot of my best like creative work is done. Do you do intermittent fasting anymore, or are you still pretty much just like 5 meals every single day?
Yeah, and by 5 meals too, because I know if there's somebody else who watches this and they're like, I thought she said she does 4. I really mean like I have dinner and then we wash the dishes, we take a walk around the neighborhood, and then I eat my yogurt and piece of fruit for dessert. So that, I don't know if we're counting as a 5th meal, if it's 4.5 meals, but I really don't do intermittent fasting unless I'm traveling, and then it's like because kind of I have to fast in certain situations for that, but not intentionally. No, I just can't get enough food, and it's not worth it for me to undereat.
Yeah, totally. I got a question here from Mats Anderson from Norway. He's one of our loyal listeners to our show. He would like to ask, what is her thought on people judging each other depending on their diet, like diet dogma, cults? He actually used the word cults. So and that is very true, by the way, isn't it? Like some diets can get very, very cultish. Vegans versus keto, carnivore versus meat and fruit. Yeah, that's the first question. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
I don't care what people eat. I know that maybe sounds like maybe I should care more, but
so I guess maybe I could rephrase the question to like, how do you lead by example and live by example without coming across in a way that's condescending or like holier than thou because I don't eat carbs, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I do eat carbs because I have milk every day, I have yogurt, I have fruit. So I mean, I do have carbs. Right. I think it's when I first started feeling so great, you can't help but want to share it with everybody, and you can't help but be so eager to feel like, please, like I want my family and my friends to be healthy too, so we can hang out for the rest of our lives and be, happy people. But I, in doing so, pushed friends away, and that was a reflection on myself, not as a reflection of them. And so I found that we don't all have to have the same goal. Maybe my goal is to live my longest, healthiest, happiest life. But my one of my family members who I love dearly, she has said so many times, Lillie, I'm a foodie. I want to eat cookies. I want to go to different breweries. I want to try different pizza places. I want to go to the trendy restaurants because that's what makes me really happy. And while I would think, you'll be much happier once you have more health or whatnot, that's not my place to say. We don't have to have the same goal. Her goal can be to be a foodie, and my goal can be to live a healthy, long life. And even still, that doesn't guarantee I'm going to actually do that. And she could actually live a healthier and happier life than me. So I think it's like realizing one, we don't all have to have the same goal. Two, we don't all have the same information. So this particular person who I'm talking about, they believe, meat causes climate change and it's bad for your arteries and for your health. And so that's okay. I'm not going to say, no, you're wrong. Here's an article. Here's a YouTube video, because guess what? I could technically be wrong too, because there is information that shows the opposite. So we all have access to different information. We all have our own biases and experiences. And what I thought about 2 years ago is different than what I think about today. And that's okay. So yeah. I think it's just coming out of a place of love, because it feels way better to love people than to hate and to judge and be, oh, you're so dumb, you're so ignorant, you need to do what I'm doing, because I don't feel better when they don't end up doing it. I don't feel better when I'm being a jerk. So I just, and even if people, I'm not sure, whoever's listening to this, I don't know what people's religion is or anything like that, but just for the example purposes, they say that you can throw your sticks and stones at Jesus and he'll still love you. So I don't care if people are leaving negative comments on my videos or saying I'm, all these mean things. Throw your sticks and stones at me. I will still love you.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes, your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too, so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
I actually just posted a little reel where I was the reel was called Why I Love Vegans. And I was saying, like, my best friend who went to my wedding was my best friend is a vegan. And so people, that might shock people, but so I made this whole video being like, why I love vegans, because like what you eat doesn't determine if you're a good person or not. And somebody ended up, there were so many comments where people were saying, nope, you missed the mark on that one, Lillie. That's, as in like the message is about love. And they're telling me, nope, you missed the mark. My mark is about love. What is your mark about? Because it seems like they wanted to say, no, the vegan agenda is trying to make people unhealthy and it's intentional and you shouldn't support people who are maliciously doing things that they know are wrong and things like that. It's like the idea is love. If you're getting lost in the negativity, that is a choice.
100%. Yeah, I actually love vegans, and my favorite thing to do is to go out and get lunch with a vegan. And great, you eat all the plants, and I'll eat all the meat. I'll take your entree. Blah blah. Yeah, more for us, right? I love it though. The second question that he would like to ask is, when did she when did she go strict no plants after being challenged from Dr. Chafee? And did she notice any benefits? I just got done. That's the one that we were just talking about before recording that I just got done listening to. He's probably commenting on that video. Did she notice any benefits in terms of digestion, mood, or performance, not just deprivation and lack of quality from having skip mustard, protein powder, and lemon? I didn't know you were a fan of mustard.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to have something different. It actually wasn't inspired. Dr. Chafee didn't challenge me to do it. I just thought it would be a unique experience.
That wasn't the impression that I got either. But it was curious though, because it sounded like you were going to make some changes. So he's probably just asking what happened afterwards.
So when I first met Dr. Chafee, and he had said that when you go 95%, when you're eating 95% carnivore, which is pretty much what I do, he says the last 5% make all of the difference. Now, he's very convincing, right? He has a lot of knowledge, very charismatic, if you will. So Dr.
Mhm.
JP definitely, I think, inspired a lot of people to make changes or to reflect on what they were doing.
Yeah.
I actually did not do the challenge though initially with the idea behind like I think it's going to truly make a big difference. I did it from comments where people were saying things like, Lillie, you're not allowed to have bacon because it has celery powder in it, and celery powder is trying to kill you because it's a plant. Lillie, you're not allowed to have mustard because otherwise tomorrow you're going to keel over dead because plants are trying to kill you, right? So
Yeah.
there's so many things trying to kill us. Pollution's trying to kill us. My cell phone's trying to kill me. Social media is trying to kill me. There's so many things trying to kill you that I love the message Dr. Chapey is bringing to the world about eating meat, being a healthy, eating nutrient dense foods, getting off your medications, living a healthy life. I love that message. I'm not trying to bash on him. We agree on 95% of things, but I have had so many coaching calls and I have met so many people one-on-one who are legitimately afraid of eating food now, who have food fear, and they are so stressed that their stress levels, their blood sugars are higher now, trying to be so perfect. And it's just not realistic for most people. Again, some people may have to be super strict, but I wanted to do the experiment to, yes, see if truly going 100% makes a difference, but also show people that if it doesn't, that's okay. We don't have to all do the exact same thing, and we don't all have to be 100% no plants. So I've been trying to keep putting that message out there and show little things here and there. Oh, I'm having this because of just how many interactions I've had with people who it ends up doing a net negative. They were actually thriving more on a standard American diet than they are now trying to be so strict carnivore.
Wow. And so you think a lot of it is psychological and
Yes.
yeah, because so we had so Carly was my last competitor that did a show. She actually reminds me of you. She looks a lot like you. But she this was the best shape she's ever been in her entire life was her last show. But we were having a heck of a time about 2 or 3 weeks out getting her 100% dialed in. And so I took all of her carbs out. I was like, okay, let's have you eat the way that I do. And she lost the weight. She got down. She got shredded as much as she needed to. But I have never seen her so stressed and miserable in my entire life, especially on peak week. Most bodybuilders are just kind of a nightmare on peak week anyway, and you don't want to be around them when they are. You definitely don't want to be around me when I'm on peak week. But she's feeling so much better, and you can see her entire quality of life is back now because she has her oatmeal. She has like all the foods that she missed. And yeah, like on paper, the diet definitely did the trick. I mean, she peaked way better than she did before. But outside of that, let me put it this way: if she wasn't on contest prep, I wouldn't have made that call. But because I was like, okay, do you want to win or what's your goal? She's like, I would win. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do, and this is what your diet's gonna look like. And yeah, she was fighting it tooth and nail, but looking back, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, long term though, I would say that half of the people that we're training right now are about 95% carnivore, and they kind of were in the first place, and they're actually like I'm learning more from them at this point because they have so much more experience having done it than I do. But then there's about a third or a half of who I'm training right now that I'm just like, you know what? Their diet's working great for them. They're getting healthier. They're getting stronger. They're losing weight. Why take out salads if they really like
Right.
salads? You know, my wife, she loves her salads. My kids love salads. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, better you than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What is the hottest, most exciting project that you are working on currently?
I am just continuing to pump out content. My husband's actually fully on board now. He does all the YouTube short, Instagram reel, TikTok. So he does all the script writing, the filming, the editing,
Whoa.
sound effects, the music. So he's the one pumping out all the shorts. I'm focusing on all the long content. I do all the coaching calls and the interviews and podcasts and whatnot. And so
That's amazing.
we're just grinding and trying to put out more content to, yes, bring health to people, but also to bring smiles and joy. We like to talk about being healthy, but we also like to talk about being just like good people and joyous people. So anything that we can do to bring those two things to people, that's kind of our hottest mission, is just to keep spreading the word.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's why we call our show Super Set Your Life, because a meal plan and a workout plan is really just kind of an excuse to get to know somebody better. And there's people that we're training where it's like, yeah, it's like they check in like clockwork and everything is business. There's some people it's like, I mean, we wrote them a plan and we wrote them a workout and a meal plan and they're kind of doing it, but man, we're talking about the Bible half the time. and I think that's why a lot of people want to hire a coach in the first place, is because they just need help getting through whatever it is that they're dealing with in life. And a lot of it really just starts with your diet and your workout and getting that nailed down.
Absolutely. I think they say that people in blue zones, which, people don't know anything, there's mistalk about what they actually eat, but they do say one thing they all have in common is community and social human connection, which unfortunately over the years, and especially with the epidemic and things like that, we have been more at home, more isolated, and more missing that kind of human connection. So I similarly during coaching calls and whatnot, like we're talking about going through divorces or how to rent a home and things like that. So I think a lot of people just want someone to talk to, and that's very, very important and important for health.
Yeah. Do you ever have a coaching call? I'm sure you have plenty of clients, and so that, like, if you're talking about one person in particular, they're not going to know. But do you ever have situations where you're in a coaching call and you're trying to nail down something with their diet or their workout plan, and then you go, you know what? There's more going behind closed doors. How's your relationship with your husband? How's your how's your stress life at your job or something? How's your sleep quality? You have to find yourself like getting beneath the surface and just figure out what else is going on and why they're not sticking with it.
That is one of the first questions I actually ask before we jump into the diet. I'll say, tell me on a scale from 0 to 10, what is your level of stress? 10 being like you're very stressed, you're losing your hair, you can't sleep at night, you're having insomnia. And then that gives me a lot of hint. If they're saying they're a 7, 8, then I'm like, okay, what's going on at work? Okay, what's going on with your family life? Why are you that 7, 8? So.
Wow, that is very, very wise to start off with that question. Yeah, because I'm usually trying to figure it out on the back end. Like I'm like, okay, protein, fat, check. Okay, workouts, check. All right, something's not adding up.
Yeah,
that's usually it. It's those other life stressors. Yeah, Taylor was doing quite a bit of cardio, and her macros were, I think they were down to 125 and 125. Like they were low. So we were doing a mini cut with her, and she just flat out stopped making progress. She could not lose any more weight. She was hungry all the time, and she was really, really frustrated. We took out all of her cardio. We doubled her food intake, and she went sailing down past that plateau. She was just stressed about having to do it all the time and be perfect all the time. And after just relaxing and just following her nose and following her own intuition, she's way faster than she ever has before. She's I think she's 10, 15 pounds lighter than before she had kids. She's so happy with herself.
Awesome.
Yeah. Where can people, and last thing is I just had to say, I love your guys' business model and your dynamic with how you and your husband work together, because that's very similar to how my wife and I do it. All the longer content, the YouTube channel, the podcast, that's mostly me doing all of it. And then the social media on the back end, that's a lot of her after the content that you have to, how do you do it? You do your big content first, right? And then do your reels like based off of the big content?
No, the reels actually just come from different questions people leave. And then same with the long format content. Actually, most of my longer format videos come from questions during one-on-one coaching calls. So I'm like, so people want to know about this kind of thing. But yeah, all the content is actually just based on questions that we get either on comments or in conversation, or even during podcast interviews, I will get ideas. So the reels are not based on really any long format content.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess so. We're a little bit different in that regard then. But yeah, I always feel better getting the long content out first and then using the small content because it's already fresh in my head. And I'm like, oh, you know what? The best part of that hour-long podcast was that 60 seconds. Great. That's my next reel. Cool. Where can people go to find out more about you?
I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Lillie Kane.
Cool. I much respect for you on the TikTok game. I got to get on that too.
I post and ghost over there. It's a crazy house. So you don't want to read any of the things they're writing. Just go and post and then leave.
All right, I'll stick with your YouTube channel. That's kind of my preferred content.
Yep.
Good stuff. Well, thanks, Lillie. God bless you. Appreciate your time on our channel so very much. And thanks so much for everything.
Thank you so much. And good luck continuing to get the word out. God bless.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us for this entire episode with Lillie Kane. I hope you found this valuable. I hope you found it entertaining. If you did, please share it with a friend and make sure that you're subscribed to the show. That really, really helps us grow this channel organically, and we thank you so very much for everyone that's been doing that. I'm going to leave you with a couple ways to support the show because we are not set up to accept donations. It's just not really our thing. If you're looking for ways to support the show, we would way rather you just head over to supersetyourlife.com, our website. I'm sure that you'll find something there that you'll love. We're set up with all the supplements, salt, merchandise, and even Skullbellz workout equipment to fuel your journey inside and beyond the gym, keeping it fun and entertaining. Supersetyourlife.com, after 3 years, is still the home of our patented skull-themed dumbbells, barbells, and deltoid desolator cable attachments. Keto bricks can be purchased through our website now at supersetyourlife.com. In our last episode, 158, with Keto Greg, who is an IPE pro bodybuilder and keto brick sales manager, we went over all things natural ketogenic bodybuilding after he helped us get set up with a wholesale reselling account. Flavors, we have Bell's Brownie Batter. That's probably my favorite one. That and nootropic icing are tied. So we got both of those flavors. And then toasted almond, chocolate peanut butter, that's my kid's favorite. Milk and cookies, can't go wrong with that one. And mocha. I'm going easier on that one though since cutting caffeine. So hold me accountable to that. Any other flavors that you want us to stock, just shoot me an email and I'll make sure that we add that to our next stock order. BioSense, the breath ketone monitor that my wife and I use, you can find that at mybiosense.com. It's the same one that we recommend to all of our clients. Code COLT20 will save you $20. And you can check out our interview with the inventor, Dr. Jim Howard, way back on episode 46 of our show. Carnivore crisps. You can go to carnivorecrisps.com. My favorite is heart and brisket. The heart one tastes great, and the brisket is also really good, especially if you're on contest prep or if you're really tracking your macros. They have a 1-to-1 protein to fat ratio, so that's been a good convenient one. Those are great for travel. Coming soon, we just got in 10 Skullbellz weight belts, and they are beautiful. They smell great too. I just love the smell of leather. But they're brown leather, custom made by Aesthetics. And make sure you subscribe, and you'll see when they are live because I'm going to get them on our website ASAP. That is ASAP, which of course stands for as soon as possible, which is intentionally vague and ambiguous because our rule here at supersetyourlife.com is that clients come first. Once they're taken care of, you'll see the belts as the next of many exciting additions to our website, supersetyourlife.com. Lastly, Celtic Sea Salt, Redmond Real Salt, and Metabolic Nutrition Performance Supplements are fully stocked and can be purchased at supersetyourlife.com. All purchases go towards supporting the show. Thanks everyone, God bless, and catch you on episode 160.